The vision Mr. Miles has for the school district includes a culture of intimidation, staffing schools with uncertified teachers, unprecedented staff turnover, and the use of flawed metrics to slander teachers and slander principals.
Superintendent Miles, you know your evaluation system is flawed. And if you don't, you should. And we're going to remind you of that for as long as you refuse to admit it.
Fear is not a path forward, and we need to call this what it is: bullying.
Woo! Just a small sampling of the dozens protesting Houston ISD's controversial Principal Proficiency Evaluation System, a scale implemented by state-appointed Superintendent Mike Miles, which at mid-year gauged nearly half the district's campus leaders as unsatisfactory and reportedly in danger of removal. After Thursday night's marathon meeting, extensive protest, and subsequent executive session, Miles and the board reversed course, announcing the proficiency screener rating will not be used to determine whether principals will be retained or released, at least not this year. Panel, what should we make of this latest development at the state's largest school district? I'll start with you, Bill King.
Yeah, you know, public education in these large urban districts, I think, is the most difficult public policy there is. I was on the HISD Foundation for about 20 years, and so I got to visit a lot of HISD schools. And I recently went out to one of these NES schools and spent 2 or 3 hours out there observing what goes on. It's impressive in what the regimen and what the kids are learning and all that. Whether it's sustainable or not, I'm not sure, because it is very intense. But look, something needed to be done at HISD. HISD is this real conundrum. We've got some great schools, some of the best in the country. We've also got some of the worst schools in the country, you know. And so something needed to be done about those bad schools. Miles is trying. He's a little bit of a bull in the china. You know, I think he could use some personality courses maybe or something, how to win friends and influence people. But, you know, look, I think something had to be done radical about those underperforming schools. It's not fair that those kids weren't getting a decent education. You know, we'll see how this works out.
Yeah, one of the takeaways for me was that one of those high-performing schools, Carnegie Vanguard, their highly regarded principal, was one of those rated as not being proficient. Thoughts, Chow?
I'm going to take it. I'm always going to take the educator and the principal sides. This creates a real morale problem within HISD when you start looking at leadership at all these schools. Principals are hard to come by. They're highly trained. They're educated. HISD already has a staffing problem. So you start going after the principals, you might be going after some real issues and having some real staffing issues at some great schools like you just mentioned. So when you look at principals and you look at these sort of clear-cut rating systems, I really think Miles has a problem about that, and he really should talk to these teachers, talk to them, because every school is different, it operates different, the students are different, the institutions are different, and then just going by a black and white, you know, rubric system to rate them just as wrong, and creates more disconnection between HISD and those principals.
Holly, any thoughts here?
Yeah, you know, one thing that makes me a little bit sad is, you know, where were all these protesters when we had schools that were underperforming for 10 years or more, where you had, you know, less than 30% of children at one particular elementary school who could not even perform at grade level. This set these kids back for a long time. A lot of those kids have already graduated from the system, and it's been a long time coming for the state to have some sort of intervention. I agree with Bill. Miles is not particularly good at the PR aspect of his job, but he is trying to improve these schools and trying to do better by these children who depend on these schools because they don't have any other choice and no other educational option.
Final 20 to Gary.
Yeah, look, I give Miles credit. He reversed course. He found one of his ideas wasn't going to fly. But understand, the big problem with public education in our community, teachers union. They could care less about, for the most part, educating children. They care about everything else in their liberal and left-wing politics and agendas like DEI. So that's the problem. God bless Miles. He's going to make mistakes, but he's also doing good work to try to improve the school.